Mark. How you doing?
Hello, Mark Hansen. How are you?
Just fine. Thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, well, my pleasure. It's nice to meet you. Beautiful day out here, and in this old historic school too.
Yes.
Something else.
So we're looking forward to finding out more about you, so that the citizens can just understand about the choices they face. It's going to be a pretty tough decision. There's a lot of qualified candidates.
Yeah, there are, and it's fortunate for Collierville though that the candidates, top to bottom, are good candidates. So it's you know there are some tough choices, but that's a good thing.
Good. Well, we're gonna be in here.
All right.
Have a seat. How did you get started in this journey?
Well, I've been a student in public schools, never been to a private school, as has my wife. I love the public schools. I care deeply about them, and all of my children, 3 children, and all 3 have gone all through the my youngest son is a sophomore at Collierville High School, but all 3 have gone through elementary, middle, and high school here. So I know what the system is, I know what it can be, and I feel passionately about it. I know that it's a huge undertaking to get this thing off the ground, and I think because of my experience and my knowledge that I wanted to be part of that, to give birth to this system.
So when you were thinking about this in your mind and you finally got to the day where you told your wife or close friends, hey, I'm thinking about running, what was their reaction, and what would they say motivates you?
Well, actually, Sarah, my wife, was one of the people that was trying to convince me to run, and although given how hard it is to run a campaign, I don't know whether she'd make the same decision today, but I think she would. But I think that given the what happened in Memphis and the opportunity that we had to create a system, and given my previous involvement in the community, that I think that we thought I would be a good fit to be on the school board, and it's I'm real excited about it. I think if I'm elected, I think it's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's going to be probably one of the most rewarding things that I could think of doing in my life, really. So.
That's great. It is going to be a lot of work. Any idea about how many hours it might take?
Well, I figure that if the pay is $2,400 a year, it's going to work out somewhere around 75 cents an hour. So if that gives you, if you can do the math.
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute. So you've got plenty of time to put in to this job?
I will make time for it. I have a busy job at FedEx in the legal department. I have in the past had a pretty busy travel schedule, but I've had to work around that. I'm also on the planning commission here in Collierville, and so I'm very involved. But it's going to be an effort to make time to do it. But you know, all things worth doing are worth making the time to do.
So have you had experience with educational systems before?
Yeah. Well, I have a master's degree, a master's degree, and a law degree. And when I was in private practice before I came here in '92, I was a school board attorney for Sullivan County, Tennessee, which is up in the top northeast part of the state, about 500 miles from here. And it's a large system, and I worked with the Board of Education there, the school board, and the superintendent, and handled all the issues having to do with transportation and you know, teachers and snow days and all that stuff. So I do have some experience there, which I think is unique among the candidates running this year. So.
And how will you put that to use? I mean, did you learn some things about school superintendents or about boards as you're sort of observing everything? Or?
I think it's all of the above. Yes, I attended all the board meetings. I think I have a very good understanding of what the respective roles of the board vis-a-vis the superintendent. You know, the board sets the policy, and the board has certain statutory obligations, but the superintendent really runs the system. He's the chief operating officer of the enterprise, and often there's a dynamic there between the superintendent and new boards that they have to feel each other out on what their respective roles are. I think I have a pretty good understanding of what that is. And having observed it and been involved in those decisions, I also think that I have a sense of what the role of good, plain common sense will have in the operation of the school board, and how it will affect the system of the new system.
Mm-hmm. The hiring of a school superintendent is going to be a big issue and really pretty complicated. I'm assuming that the 3 or 4 finalists, they're all going to be qualified. They're going to be, they're all going to be fine candidates. Is there anything in particular that would attract you to one school superintendent candidate over another that you think would be important for this town?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I think you'll have to look at a man of integrity, personal integrity with a reputation for fair dealing. That's important not only to the students, but it's also important to the teachers and the non-professional staff that are employed. He's got to have just a good, solid moral base, and someone that they feel like they trust to do the right thing. That's number one. Number two, having been on the planning commission, I think I have a pretty good view of what the vision and the strategic plan of the community is. And I think that whoever the interviewees are going to have to, we're going to have ask some questions about whether or not they share that vision of where the community is going. And then third, vision is one thing, but I think that this person needs to have a track record of being a doer. You know, having a vision is thinking, but doing is actually converting your vision into reality. And looking at someone who has a past history of being able to get things done. So those are the 3 things I'm looking for.
It's not written out any place about what the vision for the Collierville school system is. Everybody would say, I'm for good education. How would you describe your vision, or what you think it should be for Collierville?
Well, and this I'll explain a little bit more, but you know, everyone that probably sits in this seat will probably say that they want excellence. And that's kind of one of the guiding principles to this new system will be excellence. There's lots of moving parts to a school system. You have sports, you have the honors programs, and you have the non-honors programs where a lot of the kids, and I think that what I aspire to is to have good teachers in every position, you know, and that's throughout the system. You know, some systems will concentrate on the arts program, or some are good in sports, but I would like to have excellence throughout the system. And in that regard, I think that we are blessed in this community of having a level of parental support that most school systems would die for. I mean, I'm told that the Collierville PTA is the biggest PTA in the state of Tennessee. It's almost all the parents, I remember there, and I went to the open house, and it's just huge. I mean, I remember PTAs where you have 4 or 5 people show up. The parents show up and they're very supportive. And that is something that's got to remain. And in order for that to happen, you have to have continuing and uninhibited communication going back and forth between the superintendent and the teachers and the students, and school system and parents. And as an overlay to that, you would have the school system communicating with the community in various ways. So I think that that's one of the keys, is the open and continuing communication.
There's going to be a lot of issues that the school board is going to need to decide about, and there's going to be some conflicts. What special strength would you bring to the school board in dealing with the conflicts or the stresses of just all the decision making that's going to need to take place?
Well, there will be, and there will be disagreements about policies. There'll be disagreements about just about a lot of things. What I think is, in my career, I've built a reputation as being a facilitator, someone who can go into a conflicting situation and get the parties to talk, and almost like a mediator in some sense. I'm not bombastic. I don't yell. I don't, throw things or anything. I'm pretty calm, and so I think that being a role as a facilitator will be very important. And quite frankly, there's no one in the list of candidates that I dislike or couldn't work with. I mean, I think that like I told you coming in, I think we're blessed to have really good candidates top to bottom. And so I think that with the common goals, we can work through these conflicts, whatever they will be. And the only problem is, we're going to have to act quickly. I mean, we don't have a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I got in this race was because there's a lot to be done, and it's got to be done correctly. And if we don't do it right the first time, and for the right reasons, may take years to undo that damage. So we're going to have to be very careful, but we're going to have to be expeditious in how we act. Mm-hmm. And that's not easy. Combination to be in a hurry and do it right. But that's the challenge we face.
Yeah. Speaking of conflict, let's say you're shopping at Home Depot, and a citizen comes up and says, little Johnny hates his teacher. His teacher doesn't do a good job. And I voted for you, and now they expect you to do something. What would you do in a situation like that?
I'd call the superintendent. The superintendent hires the teachers and the staff, and they work for him. I've seen a situation where you get school board members who get involved in the middle of school situations, and that's really not our role. I know that the citizens out there are going to say, but I elected you. I didn't elect the superintendent. But it really is the role of the superintendent. That said, I would certainly do my best to bring it to the attention of the right people who could fix the problem. And if it's not fixed, I would be happy for the citizen to bring it back to my attention, and I would work on it again. But as far as talking to disciplining teachers or changing kids' schools or classes, that's not really the role of the school board member.
Okay.
So we're supposed to be a policy making body. So.
Well, we appreciate you being willing to be a public servant, and wish you well in your endeavors.
Well, it's an honor to run for this office, and it is humbling to see your name on signs and people to come up and offer support for you and put their confidence in you. it really is a humbling thing, and I take it very seriously, and I look forward to working with everybody.
Well, that's great. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
All right.